Combat Wings? Battle of Britain? Sounds interesting.
Why is the screen shaking so violently?
What's the worst that could happen?
I feel ill.
As a dad, it's not always easy to find time and money to play video games. So when I'm looking for a game, I'm looking for something that I can complete over a couple of my son's nap times. Something full of action so that no time is spent wasted. With Combat Wings Battle of Britain, you'll get that action. Nauseating action.
Get to the station immediately.
Whether that be single player action or multiplayer action. Well, not so much for multiplayer, because I was the only one on the game. But hey, we're all here for the single player anyway, aren't we? The single player consists of 24 missions, including the tutorial, of fast-paced, violent, screen-shaking plane action. Each campaign mission comes with its own unique description.
I've decided to promote you to flying officer. Congratulations. You must understand, however, this particular promotion has nothing to do with your successes and failures so far. I simply think, based on your performance, that you might just survive long enough to achieve something for Britain.
What's not unique is the voice communications coming from the other pilots. During the entire game, you'll hear the same lines over and over again.
Was ist los, Tommy? Hast du Angst? Was ist los, Tommy? Hast du Angst? I guess you're not as bad as I thought. I guess you're not as bad as I thought. I guess you're not as bad as I thought.
Given it's a game from 2006, it's gonna have its quirks. We can't expect a game from 20 years ago to have today's voice acting in it. I can't imagine the pilots in World War II actually talked like this all the time. Once you get past the terrible voice acting and the screen shaking, you'll find that the campaign has its own ups and downs. The campaign has an interesting pacing. It took me places I didn't expect it to. And there were times where it felt like it was boring, but then they spiced it up a mission or two later. I never would have guessed that I'd end up on the ground in a flying game.
Watch out! There's more of them coming from the south.
Yes, it still shakes on the ground when you're shooting. In all honesty, none of the characters are all that memorable. I can't remember a single one's name, and it shows you a screen at the end with all of your crew members on it. With a list like that, you'd think you'd remember some of them, but I don't. The only thing I remember is the
RAF Norfolk.
And that's because you were told to go there at the end of every mission. You have the option of just landing there, or you can just hit the escape button and skip the landing. Now, there is an advanced control option to make it so you can lower your landing gear, adjust your wings more accurately. I know there's a certain term for that, but I'm not a plane dude, so you know what I mean. I just played on the arcade controls where it does everything for you. The one thing it could not do for me, though, is turn off the damn screen shaking. I have checked and unchecked every single box on the menu. I have adjusted everything I can. I even consulted the manual that comes with the game, and there's nothing in there to get rid of the screen shaking. Yeah, I actually had to read a manual in 2026 for a game. And guess what? I'm glad I did. I found something I don't think anybody else did. You can make your own custom plane decals. They have the files to where you can edit and put your own little images where the decals go. And you bet I put my biggest bird all over that. And once you have those decals set, you don't really have to touch it anymore. You get like maybe 2 more planes unlocked throughout the campaign. They're not really that great, but at least they have a boost that you can use. For the first part of the game, there's a boost meter, but you can't use it because your plane doesn't have boost. Once you unlock a plane with boost, it's incredibly weak and it gets damaged and explodes easily, so it almost makes it seem like that boost trade-off isn't worth it. You can complete campaign missions slightly faster though, unless you fail. If you fail, you have to start all the way from the beginning of the mission, because there are no checkpoints. Given that these missions are about 5, maybe 10 minutes long, if that, it's not really that bad if you have to restart it. I played through the campaign on a normal difficulty, which even I found a bit hard and annoying at times, so I can't imagine playing on a higher difficulty is going to be any more fun. To be honest, this is the first plane game I've actually played. My only other experience is in the Battlefield games, and that never went too well. I was always crashing those. Plane game, flight simulator. I'm just talking to you in dad terms. I'm more of a dad than I am a nerd, but I'm still a bit of a nerd. So I can't say how well it compares to other flight simulators. But the HUD is nice on this game. It doesn't seem all that distracting, and I don't really have to pay attention to it too much. Even if I wanted to pay attention to it, I couldn't because I'm too focused on the crosshairs preventing me from getting motion sickness. I have no doubt that the screen shaking is going to turn a vast majority of people away. It is so awful. And even though I've complained about it a lot here, I ended up getting used to it about halfway through the game. Yeah, it took me a bit to get used to it, but once I learned to focus on the crosshairs and not anything else that was going on, I actually started having fun. When the screen is nice and calm, the game actually looks pretty well for being 2006 graphics. Most of the levels are 3D landscapes, but there's a few that are just like 2D pictures on the ground. You've got missions where you fly way up in the air, in the sea. It's all very well done. Now, I do enjoy history games, especially older war games. So when I saw the title Battle of Britain, I had an idea of what I'd be in for. I was pleasantly surprised when I had seen that they included the bombing of Berlin. As well as, what you'd expect. The Battle of Britain, you got dogfights happening over Britain, which is the whole premise of this game, and it delivers pretty well on that. Now, as for the accuracy of the planes themselves, I couldn't tell you. I'm not a plane guy. But what I can tell you is, will it dad? And as a dad, I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10. With its short 5 to 10 minute missions, you can easily complete this in a couple of nap times. It took me roughly 4 hours to complete. On Steam, Combat Wings Battle of Britain is under $5. And for that $5, I had 4 hours of fun. So I'd say it was definitely worth it. As my first flight simulator, dogfighting game, whatever you want to call it, I'd say it was a pretty good choice. I'm looking forward to trying more. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see ya in the next video.